Hey, what's up guys? Jerome here from the Bonsai Supply, and in today's video I wanted to show you how you can make some really cool bonsai trees with very inexpensive nursery material. So this Callery Pear right here, I bought this for $15 and it has a ton of potential to turn this into something really cool. So if you take a closer look at it, you can see that the root spread has washed away over time the soil, and the roots are actually in the pot like that, so we can turn this into a really cool root exposed bonsai tree. And that is actually quite hard to find, especially in the bonsai community. You don't see a lot of root exposed bonsai styles. So that I found this tree that naturally has a root exposed is really cool, and only for 15 bucks. Now obviously the center here has died off, but I did see that there was a lot of growth in here, because as soon as I brought it home, I popped it into my tropical greenhouse, and that was just a week ago, and it has come back with vengeance, so to speak. The way that you can see if a tree that has no leaves on it is still alive, you can scratch the branches, and when you scratch the branches and they have green underneath the bark, then you know that this branch is still alive, or the tree. This center section I knew was dead right away, because when I tried to scratch it, it was very hard and only brown was underneath the first layer of bark, so I knew the center section was dead. But I did have hopes for all of these branching down here. So super cool find for 15 bucks. Now what is a Callery Pear? Callery Pear is probably one of the coolest trees around. It is invasive, it is fast growing. It originally comes from Asia, such as Vietnam and China. The United States imported them decades ago as ornamental trees, and we were promised that they do not multiply as quickly and that they're not invasive. However, we were dead wrong. They do multiply very, very quickly, but they are still very cool. They grow very rapidly. In the spring, the entire canopy, everything that has a branch on it, flowers profusely, and the color is white. When you drive through a state like Georgia in the spring, all of the trees are white. Those are all Callery or Bradford pears, and they put on such an amazing spring show. Now, that's not the only thing that they do. In the midsummer to mid-fall, mid to end fall, they actually grow little berries. They are brown shaped, just like a pear, but they are only about this big, but they are not edible. But that's how they are spread so quickly, because the birds eat them and then drop them, and then in the drop the seeds, and then in the spring these Callery pears pop up everywhere. The fall color is a dark red, just like this, and sometimes you can also find them as purple. Now the leaves are naturally fairly small, I would say. They're a good size, so I think we can turn this into something really, really special today. So now let's see what we can turn this tree into. So the first thing that I want to do is take this tree out of this pot, and I want to continue exposing the root ball, all of these roots, and see how far down I can actually take it, because I have a feeling the roots that we see exposed are only up here. So I do have a feeling that we can expose a lot more roots safely and carefully this time of the year. Alright, so as you can see, right up to here, this is all just dirt on top here, and there do not seem to be any roots. Like you can see the discoloration in here. You can see that there's more roots down here versus up here, so we know we can safely work this section down. So I just found the perfect pot for this tree. I had this pot laying around for a really long time, and I kind of hid it where I almost forgot that I even had it, and it just worked out. So this is the pot that I found. So it's a round drum pot with these really cool door knockers here, and these are like crows. So automatically when I saw this pot, I was like, oh my god, this is not just the right size. It's not just the perfect drum pot, it also has birds in the front. So now this tree is going to be able to tell a story. And so remember when I said it has white flowers in the spring, right? So the white flowers with the old rough bark. The old rough bark is going to match the color of the pot. The flowers are going to contrast with the colors of the pot. And then the birds are the ones that actually spread these trees, because they eat the little pears or the little fruit, and then they drop the seeds, and so that's how they spread and get so invasive. So this together is like the perfect match. It's like a match made in bonsai heaven, because these birds are spreading the seeds off of this tree, and that's why they grow like that crazy. And then we have the dark red or purple with this contrasting. Oh man, this is gonna look absolutely incredible. So now this $15 tree is becoming something very, very special, and I really like the story that it is starting to tell already. So now the next step, we're gonna go ahead and set up the pot, and as you can see, the tree is gonna fit in here just perfectly. I don't even have to reduce any more roots or anything like that. Just fill in some soil at the bottom, put this tree on top, tie it down. I have to make sure I position it correctly. And then I think I am going to add a little bit of carving into the deadwood here, because it's something that I usually wouldn't do, and I usually don't like to have deadwood on deciduous trees. However, this tree is so weird and special at the same time, and so cool, so I think it might actually work. So let's get to work. So now that the deadwood has been broken down into the just about the right amount of height that I want, I used a number of tools. I used a Dremel to remove all of the old bark and to kind of see what the line was in between the dead line and the dead vein and the life vein. And then I just started to break with this. This is a branch splitter. I used this to start to break this piece on top here in half. And the reason why I haven't really worked it down much more and shaped it much more is because I don't know if I really like it in there. So I'm just gonna go ahead now and place the branches, and once it's all done, I can always continue to work a little bit more on that section on top there. So let's go ahead and start to place the branches. And something that I did not mention earlier as well is that these guys, the Callery pears, they have extremely sharp thorns. So the thorns are about this big, and as they grow, the thorns grow as well. But you can just cut these thorns in half, kind of like like you would with like a Brazilian rain tree, for instance. Just cut these in half so you don't have to worry about them, and they will not regrow again once you cut them. So the more that I start to work on this tree, the more I realize that this tree really wants to be a deciduous tree. So I'm just going to cut this dead section off. It was a good idea, and that's why I didn't spend much time on it, because as I was carving it, I kind of started to realize that, you know what, I don't really do deadwood on deciduous trees for a reason, and it just really didn't work for me that well. So therefore I'm just going to cut it off. But you know, you have to be willing to fail in bonsai in order to be successful, and I was willing to fail here in order to be successful, so I think it is perfectly fine. Okay, so a lot has happened here. This is the final product for today. I do think it came out really cool, considering this is a $15 nursery tree that has never been worked as a bonsai before or has been trained as a bonsai. So this is very first styling today, and today the training has begun for this tree to be turned into a bonsai tree. Now a lot of things have happened here. So first off, we removed the soil that was hiding all of this really dramatic roots. So there's a root exposed tree, and there was only soil in here, no roots. All of the roots were kept intact down there, filled in with good bonsai soil. And this is what I always like to do. I always like to keep some of the original soil and roots and then fill it in with good bonsai soil, especially since the tree has already leafed out. If it was a week earlier when the tree started budding, I would have probably removed more of the soil, but since it has already leafed out, I removed almost nothing down there. So it is safe, filled it in with good bonsai soil. Next year I can go ahead and then remove pretty much the remainder, pretty much wash it all out of the black soil and just have good bonsai soil. Now there is a reason why, obviously, that I kept so many roots, is because this section here died off, and I do not know why. Maybe because of a cold snap, maybe somebody bumped into it, maybe the roots in the center died off. I do not really know. And therefore I always think it is smart to keep the original root ball pretty much intact, fill it in with good bonsai soil, and of course we used our all-purpose bonsai soil mixture for that. Let the tree recover, and then next time we repot it, really work on reducing that root ball. So we carved off the section here in the center. I thought it was a good idea, but the more that I started to place the branches, I really did not like the way they looked, so I just cut it off. And I'm very fearless when it comes to that. I try new things with every single tree. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it does not. Cut it off and move on. So now that we placed the branches, I want to have the branches be first, these main branches here, I want them to kind of go up like a regular deciduous tree, and then once the tree starts to push out a little more and I cut it back into the perimeter that I want this tree to be at, then the side branches will start, this tree will then start to force out the side branches, and that's what's going to give us that really nice deciduous form down the line. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this week's video. Please let me know what you think of this super cool $15 tree, and make sure to subscribe to our channel, and I will catch you guys next time.